Welcome to Chandwell. My name's Michael and I'm building an old Wesleyan Assembly Hall for the bottom of High Street on my N-gauge model railway. I've added the frontage of the car parts supplier that moved into the building in the 1980s and rode roughshod over the beautiful arts and crafts original building. In this episode I will show you how I approached this and added the little details that really have brought this frontage to life. Join me then in riding roughshod, adding a modern exterior to a lovely original. I could not get away from having to decide what to do with the massive main window. The original in Ilkley is a beautiful arts and crafts stained glass affair, and I wanted to suggest the same in Chandwell. I turned to Inkscape and used simple lines and shapes to draw something akin to the original. The last time I made stained glass, in the Poor Law building, saw me printing the glass to paper. I want to hint at the interior of this building, so I thought I would print the glass to acetate. I bought this years ago when I was making the station canopy. It's coated on one side to take inkjet ink and dry it without smudging. It looks quite milky, but let's go for it and see how it turns out. It goes into the printer just like paper, and it comes out a beautiful stained glass window. It still looks milky, and it's more intense on one side than the other. I wasn't certain which way around to mount it, but in the end I glued it into place with the intense side facing outwards. I just dropped it onto a bead of PVA glue, and then pushed the first floor windows into place. I decided that the ground floor windows would be blocked up with advertising for revs. This is Johnny McShea, a Chandwell boy who shot to infamy in 1984, where in his only season as a mid-flight rally driver, he failed to finish the Chandwell moor leg due to an incident with a pheasant. He now drives for Tim's Cars in town, but lends his infamy to advertising revs. I printed his pictures to photo paper, along with some plywood texture designed to fit these windows here. I glued some card behind the windows, and then dropped Johnny's advert on top. There was a pair of windows that have been replaced recently. I used my usual sticky label method for these, and placed them with PVA. Some parts of stonework relief were printed to photo paper. I roughly cut these and added them to another 3 layers of the same paper, and held them flat with a heavy book. Cutting slightly damp glue will tear the paper, so I waited until the glue was completely dry. I then carefully cut the parts out. They were very thin and delicate, so I took my time. I always cut curves using very, very light strokes, and then any straight bits with my steel rule. This arch stonework is only 1mm wide at its narrowest point. When I drew it, I added some mock relief decoration to it. Since it's hardly visible, I didn't spend too long on this. I just wanted something to look as if it was there. I spent a bit more time on the date stone, but as you will see later, this is hidden behind the revs sign, so I didn't bother sticking this to the building in the end. Back to the component then. I coloured the white edges of the paper with watercolour paint, and then carefully added it to the building with PVA glue. The glue gives a crucial few seconds before going off in order to get the part placed exactly right. This one piece of stone relief really makes a huge difference. I repeated it for the other bits. This ledge is a mere 0.7mm wide, but it's 6 layers of paper deep. It was almost impossible to get it stuck straight. The smaller arch was done in the same way, and that looks good too. Now then, onto the revs parts. My brother-in-law has allowed me to use photos of him to represent Johnny McShea. Since his overalls are blue, revs is blue. I drew a simple sign and then used lines to make it look like it's formed of 3 pieces. I rotated the right piece to make it look like it is not affixed to the building properly. I used my usual technique of printing the signs onto a sheet of photo paper and then cutting and sticking it into multiple layers. Once cut and the edges painted blue, the signs look solid and sturdy and just glued to the building with PVA. I printed a few final parts. Simple capping stones are stuck to cereal packet and the glue left to dry. This little sheet of posters is designed in one piece, and it's glued behind the windows. A piece of black tape covers it to finish off the effect. The chevron of stone goes on the back of the parapet, and a scored and folded piece completes the pedestals at the top. Back to the capping. This is just cut out. and the edges coloured in with a watercolour pencil. They pop on top on a small bed of PVA, as do the smaller ones, and the parapet capping. Revs is coming along nicely. It looks like this with a temporary roof on. The glazing still looks a bit milky, and I'm unsure if I've chosen the best technique for the main window or not. But that's a question for a future video. Before I glue the building down, I'm going to complete the ground behind it. I'm going to put a car park under this arch, and a scout hut under here. The stream will run alongside some outbuildings behind Ironbridge Works. Once all that's in place, I will come back and finish off the Wesleyan Hall. My channel members have been following along with my progress in the behind the scenes photos and members update videos. If you're interested in this, please consider joining my channel as a member. You can press this silver button for details. Here's a reminder of how I started making the stream. Join me next time to see how this area of the layout starts to develop. Until then, thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.